Hey there folks, Champes here, bringing another audio commentary, and today we have a game between Sweet, actually who's such an old school player. I imagine many of you maybe don't even know who he is, just because he's really, it's been a very long time since we've seen anything from him, and Soccer, who's obviously much more recent player, certainly came onto the scene a lot later than Sweet, but we haven't seen too much from him recently, and actually we're on Ancient Isles, which is obviously a map we haven't seen in a very long time as well. So I'm very interested to see how this game's going to play out. This is from the I Love Disc competition, and it's a best of three, and it's actually 1-1. So very impressively, Sweet's managed to game off Soccer already. So really so impressive for him, because obviously he's such an old school player, and he hasn't been around at all recently. We can see his tags are even still sk.bet, which is just something I haven't seen in absolutely ages. But that is perhaps going to work against him, but certainly we've seen such fantastic results from other players like Lucifer, who've really just come back on the scene so recently that it's very possible that we're going to see a good show here from Sweet. Sweet obviously went for a quick crypt and altar, and then got that cigarette as soon as he could afford it as well. And now, is he going to be doing some scouting? Yes, he is doing some scouting with a 6th Acolyte. That's an interesting choice there by him, and something that Lucifer was actually doing as well, but we don't see as much from modern undead such as Ted. And this is actually a game on patch 1.25, so actually big things that will have changed. Obviously not any changes or specific undead changes, but all the other races were effectively nerfed, so really it's pretty good for undead this patch. For one thing, the Warden's Shadow Strike now costs 75 mana instead of 65. I'm trying to think what else. There's lots of little detonate changes as well. For example, detonate can no longer drain mana from a hero that's using invulnerability potion. Ooh, a big one is that poison orb now only does does damage for 6 seconds instead of for 8, so that's a big change as well if we get to that stage. But interesting play here. Look at this, Sweet immediately coming in with 2 ghouls and that acolyte, killing off that archer, and that's going to really put Soccer behind, because he now can't creep, and we're going to have to see. Look at this, he can't even catch up to that one ghoul because of the acolyte blocking the way. Maybe the warden even turns around there. Fantastic opening there from Sweet, and looks like Soccer's actually putting down a second Ancient of War because he wants to do this creeping, and you need to get a level 3 with your warden, especially actually now if Shadow Strike costs more mana as well. And it looks like this Death Knight now gonna finally be out. Even brings up some skeletons, which he had already got the creep kill, or the critter killed earlier with his units, just making fantastic use of that. And look at that, detonate goes off, and that's a bad detonate there for Soccer. And Soccer, oh my god, losing a wisp now as well. And so really a fantastic opening here for Sweet, who's now going to be taking a bit of damage on his Death Knight, but really he does just need to do as much damage as possible at this stage, and Soccer now needing to bring in another wisp there. So really a bad opening there for Soccer, who's actually left his base so far open. Obviously Ancient Isles really not good for that sort of situation, and Soccer actually trying to run his wisps into better positions, but obviously ghouls can just get in there and do that damage so quickly, and they don't care about those little corner positions because they're ghouls, not heroes or anything like that. Still the chasing going on here on this Death Knight, who's still at 0 experience. Actually, how is he at 0 experience? I thought he killed that wisp. Maybe actually went down to creeps. I don't think he detonated, but that's interesting there. I think, yeah, that must have been it, which is a bit of a shame there, but still a pretty good opening nonetheless for Sweet. Soccer having to cycle a couple of his wisps into his gold mine, but it looks like he's actually just making the best use of this acolyte. But finally, Ancient of War being uprooted, Soccer's going to want to creep out this cap as soon as possible. Getting that level 2 is important, just basically because it's a gateway to level 3, which is really what you want. And obviously, just having the potential for Blake is quite important, as we saw in that Lucifer game, which I think was the last game I casted before this one. It's been a while, and actually more of Soccer's wisp just being traced around, losing a bit of mining time, but also just making Soccer do a couple more things. That one acolyte did finally go down, but Sweet probably wasn't too attached to it. And meanwhile, Sweet's tech about 40% of the way done, and Soccer's about 20% of the way, so nothing too surprising. Oh my god, huge surround goes off there. No blink yet for this warden, because he still is only level 1, so she does have to TP out. Fantastic play there by Sweet. Obviously it's can be pretty tricky, especially when you don't have your Unholy Aura yet, and actually running into this Ancient of War and 3 archers, that's not a good battle for Sweet, who's definitely going to get out of here, especially knowing that Warden's going to be back, and his Death Knight is at only 250 health, so really does need to be wary there. Looks like Sweet actually trying to pull the creeps onto this Ancient of War. Could that be it? No, just bringing up some Skeleton Warriors, although yes, he does attack one of the creeps with the Skeleton Warrior and then runs away. This Ancient of War going to take a bit of damage, a bit more than he wants to, and also just going to keep Soccer busy yet again. Meanwhile, Sweet's tech Probably getting pretty close to being done. Graveyard going down, still only one crypt, so maybe I was thinking immediately we're going to see Ghoul Garg, but maybe we're going to be seeing a more modern strategy here from Sweet. We'll have to see this Warden actually trying to get another Shadow Strike, does get one on that Death Knight. Obviously, the extra mana cost will slowly start to take its toll because Soccer's cast probably about 6 Shadow Strikes by this point, so that's basically another Shadow Strike that she can't cast now. So really, it can be a big loss over these types of games, especially when you need to be using a lot of Moon Juice for healing, because Soccer did get surrounded and stuff. Some nice multitask creeping going on here for Soccer, although needs to be careful with the Ancient of War. Probably will be okay unless Sweet runs in. Sweet does get picked up by Naka though, and will maybe be able to do some damage, probably be able to kill off at least one archer if Soccer's not paying attention, but it looks like Soccer's on top of things. Obviously does need to, Sweet does need to pay attention to his Naga being focused down by that Warden. We did see that last game where really the Warden was just, or the Naga was just abandoned against that Warden, and that Ancient of War does go down. Slowing arrows going off on this Warden, who does now have the capability to blink. I'm not sure if actually Blink's been skilled yet. No, nothing's been skilled yet for Soccer, and a Naga being picked up for Soccer as well. Interesting choice there, especially against so many ghouls. You'd think that a Panda would be a fantastic choice, especially if you can get Fan of Knives later on as well. But it looks like, oh my god, this Death Knight down to 70 health does have to use his healing potion and does have a boost, despite the fact that he actually only has 13 experience, which must just be from a Wisp kill, I'm guessing. So really, Soccer's been doing a good job of keeping all of his units alive. But oh, actually, maybe it's from the. Oh, I'm not actually sure. Maybe it's from an Ancient of War kill or something. But interesting. Player, and looks like Soccer just constantly trying to move in, trying to do some more damage to the heroes. Really, this Naga goes down so quickly. Obviously, Frost Arrows from Soccer's Naga combined with the Shadow Strike is just so potent and so slowing. Another healing potion having to be used here. We might see this Naga now go down, although the Warden's still getting down to 80 health. Does need to run away, is slowed down to 40 health, and the Naga of Sweet is taken down. Very, very nice play here by Soccer, and Soccer now actually does need to be wary of his own Naga, which is obviously very, very slow, and could possibly, actually, it looks like the boots were passed to that Naga before she died for Sweet, so no pathing blocking there, and it looks like Sweet's just going to try and finish off this creep and does manage to get it, and now Soccer needs to pull these archers back. And meanwhile, Soccer's Warden has managed to take a very long route home, and will be able to do a lot of healing up, and 2 Ancients of Lore have now finished for Soccer, and one low ghoul here will go down. We do have Backpack having been researched. Nice around there by Sweet, really, really nice there, and that Naga's going to go down, and that's going to be level 2 now for this Death Knight. But this Death Knight does actually need to be quite careful. He is fairly low on health, and that Warden is going to try and chase him down, but again, the ghouls just managed to take out a couple, or actually just one archer, and now actually going to go for some more. But this Death Knight does have the aura, but again, because he doesn't have those boots, he could be in a bit of trouble. Finally, Naga back out and can pass the boots back, and it looks like actually Sweet losing one ghoul there, trying to get a bit of a block there on that Warden, but it was all to no avail. But look at this Naga now back out, will be able to take out one archer, and first try. Ooh, nice deny there by Soccer, coming and killing his own archer to deny that 40 experience. Very, very nice. Ooh, actually a couple of skeletons coming out, almost getting a block there on that Dryad. Dryad actually dispels one of the skeletons immediately. That's an interesting choice to get dispel it early. I mean, obviously once you've got it, you may as well use it on the skeletons, because there's not going to be a huge amount of other things to dispel from Sweet here. Sweet now taking the tier 3, still only on 1 crypt, actually getting a slaughterhouse as well, and now I'm getting some fiends out as well. So moving into sort of a more standard late game undead army in this situation. This Naga now going to move out to try and do some more creeping with the rest of the army, and actually looks like this Ancient of War not taking as much damage as he really should be. But actually, the two of them are creeping fairly close together. This Death Knight though really wants to get that level 3, so not going to be moving out to try and do some harassment. And this Naga, pretty important to get that level 2, actually just important to level it up so it becomes a lot more durable, especially when you have good hero focusing heroes like the Warden and like the Naga, and then also things like Dryads, where because of their range they can do so much damage. Oh my god, Sweet coming in here, does have one fake Death Knight, but immediately it's dispelled. Actually we see Dispel being used on both the real one and the fake one, but eventually the real one goes down, and look at the Death Knight now taking a lot of damage. Does coil one of his ghouls to keep it alive. The Naga of Soccer is snapped out, and low Dryad's now being microed back. One fiend comes in and is coiled, and actually this Death Knight now taking a fair bit of damage, just eventually needs to TP out after having created 2 fakes during that battle, and Soccer wasn't fooled for a second though. Fantastic play here by him. Actually, forgetting 1 tome of agility, but now this camp's been crept out, it'll be possible for Soccer to expand. Though he's been under quite a bit of pressure, so he might be thinking more about trying to get his Bear Master training. Actually, now that he's got Adept training, so he's probably going to want to at least get a couple bears out, make them pay for themselves, because otherwise you really spend a lot of money on tech that you're not using too much, and so probably want to do that, and then maybe he'll expand a bit later on. This one illusion of Soccer just gonna go, or of Sweet, sorry, just gonna go out and scout out what's going on. Gonna scout out one bear coming out, and maybe he's gonna be able to see actually the fact that if he sticks around, at least no he's not, so he's not gonna be able to see the fact that this bear does now have master training. So nice creeping here though, going on for Soccer, who actually picks up a robe with a Magi +6, fantastic item for that Warden, really going to combat that slight nerf to Shadow Strike in terms of mana cost, and the Snaga now picking up that Tome of Agility would have been nicer on the Naga, but really it's just important it's just nice to pick it up at all. It's not ever really likely to be a game changer, so just getting it at all is pretty decent. And this Naga now hitting level 2, and Sweet just doing some really small creeping, maybe worried about the Warden coming in, worried about level 3 on that Warden, can always be pretty can be pretty lethal, so maybe Sweet just trying to play a bit more defensively while he gets a bit more of a solid army up. He actually is getting Destroyer for up as well, and that's going to be very, very useful for taking out those bears. Obviously with things like Rejuvenate and Roar, Destroyers do fantastically against bears, and the bonus to heavy armor types. And this Warden though is level 3, actually almost level 4, picking up a Book of the Dead as well. Could be very good until those Destroyers come out, at which point it's going to be much better for, Soccer to drop the item and attack it than to use it, basically, because it provides such a huge buff for Destroyers, and he does actually sell it there. Smart choice there by Soccer, anticipating the tech choice, because otherwise actually it's a really powerful item. It's in some situations it can be just so strong if your opponent doesn't have a good dispel, but obviously Sweet with Destroyers will have the best dispel there is, basically. And Death Knight now actually hitting level 3, does still have one charge on his Wand of Illusion, and that's quite interesting really, just because you think that he could be using it to scout or something, because it's unlikely to actually be useful in a battle. Actually Sheep tripping up those Drides for a second there, no upgrades yet for either player, and it looks like actually this one Ghoul taking a lot of damage isn't called, but should be. Hopefully no, he isn't, he dies. It's probably indicative of the fact that Sweet's a bit out of practice. One fake Death Knight being created, but as I say, they just take it out so quickly. The bear's actually in the back of the army for Soccer, very, very big mistake there. Coil goes off to save that feed. Obviously feeds so easy to take down with bears if those feeds do get out of position. Drives being run back, which is forcing the feeds to run forward, which is allowing the bears to focus them down, and actually an orb has now been picked up for this Warden as well, who's very, very close to level 4, but Drides just going down. I think now all the Drides are down for Soccer, so now these Destroyers are just going to be able to rain havoc with only the heroes being able to hit them. Obviously both of them can hit them now that the Warden does have an orb, but obviously the Naga can't use her slowing arrows on them, which is pretty bad. Fork Lightning goes off there, very, very nice, taking about a lot of those ghouls with low health, but so many bears being focused down by Soccer. Really, he's just losing so much now. This Naga being very, very close to going down, but does Cold Nova, or Frost Nova, and Coil goes off, takes down that Warden, fantastic focusing there by Sweet, and now really Soccer needs to buy that back at the tavern. He can't afford to be waiting to buy it back at the altar, and this Naga was saved so nicely with that Invuln pot, and knowing that he could just survive for those couple seconds. He wouldn't even need to run his Naga back too much, because Soccer would need to go on the defensive, and fantastic timing for that Lich just before that battle really got crazy. Having that Lich in the battle, especially with that orb, is just so powerful, and actually passing the boots to it as well, which I'm a bit surprised by. I'd keep it on the Naga really myself. Obviously the Naga 575 health compared to 525 on the Lich at this point. Oh, actually focus going off here on the Naga, really bad idea there for Sweet. He does eventually notice it, but as I was saying, just because you can coil the Lich, it isn't as important to have the boots on it, but and obviously if you put it on the the Naga has another pair of boots. Looks like Sweet must have picked a pair up there. Interesting that they wouldn't sell that one on the Naga, or on the Lich, sorry. This Warden has been taverned back by the looks of things. Does actually have a TP, which he failed to use in that last battle because he was focused down so quickly and so adeptly. And these bears all moving back, trying to heal up a bit. Soccer now at 45 food compared to 45 for Sweet, so very, very even there in terms of supply. But obviously 4-3 for Soccer compared to, I think it's 3-3-3, yeah, 3-3-3 here for Sweet, which is just the best. Or I mean, obviously higher levels are better, but just 3-3-3 means you have at least a level 2 skill on every hero, and that's when the skills just start to get so powerful, especially that focusing. And against an agility hero like the Warden, or even an intelligence here like the Naga, being able to do that magic damage, which isn't affected by armor, is just so important, and actually is just so powerful, as we saw in that last battle. But Soccer managing to do some really nice creeping. If he can get level 5 on his Warden, he'll be in with a good chance in the next fight. He does not. He still actually doesn't have any upgrades, which is, I guess it's okay, but it's you think he might be getting some at this point. Actually, it's Ancient of War rooted here. You think he could be doing something with that as well. Maybe just sending it somewhere around the map, just in case there happens to be a battle where the Ancient of War happens to be at the time. It's always very, very useful to have an Ancient of War, especially if you're against things like Fiends, just because you can do so much damage if they ever run out of position and towards that Ancient of War. And looks like some more small creeping going off here for Soccer. Still 4-3, I think, but getting pretty close. Plus 20 actually on this Warden, and that's before Roar. And a Tree of Life now going up for Soccer. As I said, it's important for him to get a decent sized army up, just so he can hold off any attacks. And also, because this is so close, if Sweet decided to pick a battle here, it's always going to be possible for Soccer to staff some heroes home, heal them up, and then bring them back in the battle very, very quickly, especially if he uses Blink and staffs his Warden home. That can be very, very strong, and he does have a staff on the Naga, so that is definitely a possibility for this game. But it looks like actually Sweet might be looking to pick a fight now. He does have Disease Cloud on his one Abomination, so possibly should be trying to get some more Abominations before he starts this battle. But looks like that's not his ambition for now. Death Knight does have a Sobi Mask, which is a fantastic item for that Death Knight, especially considering he's not against a Death Knight. Ooh, a Coil goes after there just to take out a Wisp, and that gets level 4 now on this Death Knight, and we immediately have level 2 Unholy Aura being skilled, and a TP now coming in for Soccer, who uses Roar, and a TP's into a very aggressive position. Obviously, he has so many bears, he needs to be in that aggressive position, and this one Fiend does take a lot of focus, and a TP's now going to go up for Sweet, and it looks like he's just going to lose one on Fiend, and eventually get out of there, and it looks like Soccer didn't actually take any damage at all. He took a bit of damage actually on this Ancient of Wind, but he didn't lose anything, and you can always just uproot this Ancient of Wind and eat a tree to heal it up for free. And Soccer now is expansion's getting pretty close to done, and so maybe that's gonna be what wins him this game. Is if Sweet can't react in time, can't actually put on the pressure he needs, then that could be the game ender, because obviously that expansion is so close to the main that it's just pretty hard for Sweet to pick this fight. Look at that nice Phantom Knives as well as a Test Strike, just to take out one ghoul there, and just by doing that sort of thing and then moving back and then just constantly doing that and repeating, you can just wear down your army just a bit by attrition, and it's going to force Sweet to maybe stay for a bit longer before he attacks, just to heal up a bit more. And every second that Soccer gains now is great for him, because he just needs to get his mine up and running, and at that point he'll be on double income, or probably, yeah, double income now, because Sweet is at 57 compared to 63 food for Soccer, so Soccer has now taken the food lead. But as I say, 4-3-3, I think, yeah, 4-3-3 versus 4-3. So it's still a huge hero level advantage for Sweet, but the supply, or the food count, is definitely moving against him, and we do have a lot of hippogriffs being produced now as well, which are going to be fantastic, just so good against his destroyers. Assuming Sweet doesn't have web, actually, I haven't seen if he's researched it or not, but if he has, then that could be pretty bad for Soccer, because really he's spending a lot of food now. Ooh, look at this, Coil Nova goes off here, no blink for this Warden. Warden will need to use an invuln pot, or maybe a TP. Actually, is staffed home with only 80 health left on him, and actually one bear here not in or one Druid of the Claw not in bear form, finally moves into bear form, but is focused down before that happens. Looks like a Blight being dropped now, actually, in the middle of Soccer's expansion here. Wisp detonating to get rid of it. One Abomination does go down. Nice micro here on this bear, but actually is focused down at the last second, really close there, and it looks like no web for these for the Fiend, so these Hippogriffs can just do so much damage, and finally it looks like this Warden has now been chased back, is now level 5 though, and actually, ooh, Coil goes off to take down that Warden after that invuln pot runs out. Oh my god, this might now be the end here for Soccer. He might be taken out by Sweet in this best of 3 against by a player really who we haven't seen anything from in so long, and now with 3 heroes versus 1, and especially if that one's just a Naga, this is going to be a very tricky situation for Soccer to do anything from. Making good use of the Ancient of War as a base defense. I guess maybe that's why he kept that here, just so that when he did put up an expansion he could use it as base defense, but he's just going to lose so many units. He is now picking back up his Warden up from that tavern, but yeah, he has almost no moon juice left. 130 in one, and then just a couple and every other. It's just the sort of night now, and actually looks like he's trying to bring down some wisps to put in this gold mine, but he's actually going to be unable to get them past here, so he might actually be better off just to try and get the detonates off, and then hope that he can just play one base versus one base, but he's really just taken too many losses at this point, I think. Yes, he does go for the detonates there. what is it, 4-4-3? Yeah, 4-4-3 now for Sweet. Just such powerful hero combinations, and Soccer forced out of his little hiding position here, brings in his Warden, which has actually healed up a fair bit, and has got a small amount of mana, but Nova goes off on that Naga, immediately taking it down, and this is going to be the end here. This Warden trying to stay alive, uses a healing potion as well, but can't even take down that Naga, who does have a healing potion, and uses an invuln pot there. Really Sweet playing so fantastically. There's the GG from Soccer, and the I Love Disc round of 16 goes to Sweet over Soccer. Who would have seen that coming? Really, really amazing play there by Sweet, showing that playing Warcraft 3 is a lot like riding a bicycle, in so much as you just never forget these real basic things, and you can see the remnants of his old glory there. I very much hope you enjoyed that game. I'm going to try and bring you some more games more frequently. I haven't brought you a game in a fair while, but that's because I've been horribly ill. I'm not sure if you can tell. I hope I haven't been snorting too much or anything through the course of this game. So I hope you enjoyed that, folks, and I'll bring you some more games very soon. Thanks.